Welcome to Brooklands, the birthplace of motor racing. Today at the museum, on the track,
this is going to be the oldest thing that I've ever driven.
A legendary car of the past is driven by a formidable driver of today.
Boy, they're really big bumps.
1, 2, 3.
As a new day dawns at the museum, an old friend is on its way back to the track.
Hi Anna, the car's just arrived.
Brilliant, thanks.
It's an early morning start for fundraising and development officer and the newest journalist on the museum's bulletin team, Anna Jackson.
I'm writing an article for the Brooklands Bulletin, so a bit nervous, first one. Plus we've got a huge, really important racing driver coming, which I'm a bit too excited about.
The Brooklands Bulletin is a magazine that's sent out to the 6,000 members of the organisation, so getting an article published is a big deal. And Anna wants to start with a story that's closest to her heart.
I think it's important to tell the story of the women of Brooklands because it's the story of women. These women were achieving things that even now seem impossible, and they were doing it in the background of not having the vote, not having jobs, not being able to own property, not having their own money.
Brooklands was the first ever purpose-built racetrack in the world, and the first car ever to complete a circuit was driven by a woman, Ethel Locke King, in 1907. Despite Ethel's role in getting the track built, women were initially prohibited from racing.
And this year it heralds also the new rule allowing women to race under the same conditions as men.
By 1920, the rules were relaxed, and both male and female drivers were finally able to compete against each other on equal terms. One legendary car associated with the women drivers of Brooklands is the 1923 10.5-litre Delage V12, which held the world land speed record, albeit briefly, in 1924 for reaching 143 miles per hour. It's been brought back to the museum today by its official driver, Eddie Williams.
Hiya.
Hi Anna, nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Eddie.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Oh, no worries. Apparently, I hear you're writing an article about this car.
Yeah. Because it was driven by women and it just broke so many records. So it's a good central tie-in.
Right.
The women that handled this car did really, really well in it.
Yeah.
So it has got incredible history, especially Kay Peter.
Anna's heroine, Kay Peter, and the Delage were the talk of the track back in the 1930s. She was an extraordinary woman racing driver, revered in her day, who broke the average speed record for a lap of Brooklands in this very car, averaging 135 miles per hour.
And we're really happy that you've brought it here today. It's great to see it, so thanks for that.
Adding to the thrill of the Delage returning, and to try to get a sense for her article of what Kay experienced on this hallowed circuit, Anna's organised a modern-day legend of women's racing to come and drive the car.
Now we've just got to wait for our world-class racing driver.
No, I'm already here.
And as much as he'd like it to be, it's not Eddie. At the track, fundraising and development officer and budding journalist Anna is waiting to welcome the second focus of her article for the all-important Brooklands Bulletin magazine, Abbie Eaton, who at the age of 28 already has 25 titles to her name.
Abbie Eaton is one of the best drivers in the world right now. She's won so many races. She's been racing for 19 years, the modern equivalent of Kay Peter driving Kay Peter's car. If we didn't have that, the story wouldn't have the same impact.
As well as her impressive racing record, she's known for knocking about with Clarkson, Hammond and May. But today she'll be putting the 1923 Delage V12 through its paces, so that Anna can get as close as possible to reliving the past for her readers.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Anna, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Abbie. So this is the Delage, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really famous for being raced by Kay Peter.
Yeah.
So she was one of our Brooklands belles, or speed queens, or motorinas, so like ballerinas and cars. But she set the outer circuit lap record in this for women, which was 134. So she set that in 1935.
Even in modern cars, doing that kind of speed, you still feel that you're going quite fast. So one of these things, which had to hold on.
Here as well.
So yeah, because this car's so important and it's so essential to the article, I really just wanted to get a feel of how you experience it, just the difference between this car and a modern car.
Yeah.
So if you want to climb in, I'm sure Addie will show you around.
So I hear Kay was quite small.
Yeah,
Not
she was
long-legged like me.
Yeah, 4'10". So she had to get all the pedals moved, everything rearranged for her.
Seats are lovely.
Yeah.
How does it feel for you sitting in this car?
Well, I feel like I'm just about the right height to see over the steering wheel, so she must have needed a bit of a booster seat.
She was very stylish, so she had powder blue overalls, and then all of her cars, she'd get them painted the same powder blue. And then with all the other women, they'd all carry their lipstick and some face powder underneath the seat.
Yeah.
So they'd pull them out, fix their face up in the rear view mirror at the end of the race.
God, that sounds like a lot of effort. I don't do that when I'm driving. No. I end it with oil and everything all over me instead. Yeah, so gear stick and handbrake.
Yeah.
With Abbie confident of the controls, Eddie is keen to show her under the hood.
You might want to have a quick look at the engine because
Yes,
it's
please.
quite interesting.
Yeah, big V12.
I think it was one of the first V12 engines ever made.
Look at that.
All the valves are there, like exposed. All the rocker gears exposed.
This would be my dad's idea of heaven, looking into all the gubbins and stuff of this. Right, should we go and take it for a drive?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you trust me?
Yeah, I think so.
That was the right answer. I'm excited. Can you tell?
It's an exciting moment for Anna as well.
It's a good job I enjoy driving in the wet.
She's hoping Abbie will be able to give her a real insight into just what her hero Kay Peter and the other women that raced around Brooklands in the 30s went through as they jostled for position around the bumpy banked track.
So, because you had to use obviously the accelerators in the middle and brakes on the right, in a modern car where the accelerator's on the right, brakes in the middle, you'll brake with your toes and you'll blip the accelerator with your heel effectively. But in this, it's the other way around, and the brake pedal's up on the right and the accelerator pedal is a bit lower down. So it's difficult to actually be able to reach the accelerator to keep the revs up. If you go too slow under braking, then it cuts out.
Cool. Give it a try.
Back in the 30s, like today, Surrey wasn't immune to the weather turning wet. But rain never stopped them racing. Like Abbie today, the drivers were made of stern stuff.
Glad I'm not in the car actually in this weather.
Not the best for driving. No. Especially not in a car like that.
Oh, there you go. I think that was a bit of a wheel spin.
For 4'10" Kay Peter, commanding and controlling a highly tuned racing car like this would have taken extreme amounts of concentration and strength. Especially as some of the endurance races she entered could last 12 hours.
Trying to keep your foot on the accelerator over all the bumps is harder than it looks. Avoid the really big bumps.
I don't think I needed any more here. She's just already learned how to drive it perfectly.
I wonder if the ladies had some sort of sports bra on back in the day. You certainly couldn't be chunky and race one of these.
In fact, underwear was the least of their troubles. When women raced at Brooklands, they wore full dresses tied with a cord to stop them billowing up at speed and brimmed hats tied with scarves. Fortunately for Kay Peter, this hugely impractical uniform had been replaced by a close-fitting leather helmet, goggles, and her trademarked blue overalls by the time she took the wheel in 1932.
I bet people get a few headaches after having one of these for 12 hours. You have to press the brakes super hard as well. But you get mud flying in your face, water in your face. This thing must have been tough to drive, especially for 12 hours.
Time for Anna to find out what a modern driver's made of her ride into the past.
What an experience.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm covered in mud.
Yeah, you are a bit.
Did you find the brake being in the wrong place an issue at all? Or?
But no, kind of had to keep reminding myself that, yeah, brake is on the right-hand side. But actually, once you get used to it, it kind of becomes the norm. Yeah. The most fun is sliding the thing. Like, what? And I didn't think I'd be sliding something like this around.
So you've just driven the Delage around the Brooklands track. What do you think Kay would have felt like when she was doing it?
I'll tell you what, she must have been a strong 4'10" woman. So, I mean, you get launched out the seat, and I mean, you know, back in the day, Brooklands would have been a little bit smoother than it is today. But yeah, it's really quite a physical car to drive. You know, the brakes are quite solid. You know, you've got to be quite brutal with it to actually get it to do what you want. And, you know, I wasn't cracking on at 130 miles an hour like she was. So, yeah, massive, massive respect to her, really.
A few snaps for the front page.
Looking nice. OK, fine.
And Anna has all she needs for her first scoop for the bulletin.
Having Abbie here, having the car here, it's been great for the article and inspiration. And then hearing how she felt in the car and what she experienced, it just really brings it all to life. So hopefully I can put that into words and make for a good read.
4'10" Keir Peter against my 5'10" frame, I've got so much respect for her. You know, to be able to maintain that 130 mile an hour speed record for, you know, over an hour, it takes a lot of guts to do that. And having driven it myself around here, you get shaken to pieces. So, yeah, utmost respect to her, and yeah, we need more trailblazers like that.
You know, we're not just a load of static exhibits.